Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine and Real Estate. So, today I'm really excited. I have an awesome guest, my friend Pavel. I hope I can call you friend, but we've been communicating back and forth for a few years now, and we've met in person once, maybe twice, I'm not sure. But I feel like I know you now and your family and your stories. And I think my audience will really enjoy this talk. Pavel is an inspiration, really inspiring man and a young man because I'm much older than he is. So just
Not
teasing.
much. Not much.
And today I'm drinking my favorite wine. So just before we get started, uh, it's actually not an expensive wine. So huge bottle, of course. So Fantini Sangiovese. Sangiovese from Italy, and like $18 at LCBO if you're in Ontario. You can buy smaller bottles, but as you can tell, I like it a lot. And one thing I learned recently makes a big difference is the glass. So this is not the right type of glass, obviously, but the thickness of glass actually changes the flavor of your wine quite a bit. So you want to aerate it, enjoy it, and it might be too warm. So your house is kept at what, 20 degrees, 21 degrees. Most red wines are best at 14 to 18 degrees. So you may want to chill it a bit. Even some less expensive wines can be quite good. So now let's get to the exciting part. Pavel, we need to hear your story. Can you give me a 30,000-foot view of where you come from, what are you doing here, and what's next?
Of course, we like wine too. I went
Good.
for a tasting couple of times, and I remember one lesson when they showed us how to taste wine, and they sniff it and you do the whole thing, and then they go, if you swirl it, and then the legs when they come down, the slower they
Yes.
come down, the more percentage the wine apparently has. That
Yes.
was it, right? That was news
Last,
to me.
makes a big difference. And last night I was drinking, I got a nicer bottle, and about half an hour in, you could still see the lines. I'm like, okay, this is
Really,
really good wine.
this
The
is it,
Fantini
right?
doesn't stay long, as you can see. Yeah,
No,
it's
but
gone in
hey,
seconds.
Yeah, the 30,000 views here. I was born in Poland, 40 years ago, so it's not as not
I'm
that far.
43.
Okay, okay, so I
That's
wouldn't
why I'm
guess
like young man.
that. Yeah, well, it's so 40 years ago, Poland, and then spent there the first 20 odd years, then moved to Ireland for over a decade, and
Wow.
then Canada. Canada the last 6 years. 2016 March 19th we arrived. It was a good day.
Amazing. And you have a beautiful family following you along or being born along the way. Can you tell us more about that? Because I have a
Isn't
lot of
that fun?
listeners that have
Yeah. So
families and
we are a Polish couple with two children. One child was born in Ireland, so he's considered Irish in the eyes of law, and Ireland and ours too. And now we're in Canada, and then we have another boy joining our family, Canadian. Um, so yeah, it's just funny how the things change along the way. So what we used it for, the fact that we were in Ireland for so long, we could apply for the citizenship, which we've done, and now in Canada we became the part of this country too. So from the boys' perspective, because again we're 40 years in, they're just starting. This is amazing start because they can go to
yeah,
Europe. Uh, they work along, if it still exists, the European Union in like whatever years, right? Yeah, the door is open. They don't need to go to the whole hassle what I have to do in order to get to this country. That was like 2.5 years of jumping through different hoops, and it is what it is, right? So we made it, and we were determined to get here. We did. We came as TRs, and yeah, this is a great adventure. Like Canada has opened so many things for us, and then we opened the eyes and learned so many things about, especially financial things, because over here is way different access and approach to money and money products than in Europe. But yeah, we learned so much, and it's only been 6 years.
that's amazing. And Canada, like you say, is a special country. Like, although we might agree or disagree on certain things, the country itself, it's the land of opportunity. That's what my ancestors saw. I did some family history and I noticed, well, I read, supposedly my family's been here 400 years. So we've been here a long, long time. but Canada has all that creativity, and you're bringing this worldwide knowledge, and Canada's very accepting of different things, differences, which is amazing. And now you're a real estate investor in Canada, so a fairly recent addition to our country, and now you're buying up things and building an empire, which is amazing. That's what Canada is all about. That was always my dream, is anybody who comes here, you should be able to build the dream you want, and that's what it should be. So can you tell us more about your real estate empire, Pavel?
So I agree. You migrate to better your life. If you migrate
Yeah,
and your
that's
life
it.
is not good or not at the level that you expected, like unless there's circumstances now,
Yeah,
everybody's situation is different. But in our case, it was our will and our decision in every moment of our lives. We weren't forced to do anything. So and there is also good life elsewhere. It doesn't have to be only in Canada.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes I get a feeling that some people, in North America, they think that living anywhere outside of North America is just not
Bad.
doable. That's not true, right? So
Nope.
let's yeah, right. I left Poland in 2004, and in 2007, living in Ireland, I started investing in Poland in real estate, right? So I never
Wow.
believed in the system. I wasn't planning to live off the system when I get older. I always wanted to have control. I'm a little bit of a, I like to have control over things, whatever I can, of course.
Yeah,
So that looked like a plan. It wasn't. I think somebody called us an accidental landlord then, and I think this is what actually happened because we got the apartment, or I at that stage, uh, and I rented it out, and it was sitting there, right? So I was working in Ireland, and when you earn in euro, buying in zloty, the exchange rate is almost 5 to 1 now. It
oh,
used to
ouch.
be, I know, right? It used to be 4 to 1 when I was in Ireland. So still a massive, it's 1-1 versus 4, right? So you could,
Wow.
and the apartments in Poland, they were not, still are not that expensive in certain regions. Now they pick up quite quickly because Poland has gone a long way in the last 20 years with the
Yes,
European Union joining and, the amount of money. And now people move to Poland with the same view as I was moving to Ireland. You know what I
that's it.
mean?
That's
So
so funny.
it is. It is. It makes me proud of how about the whole journey and about understanding this whole thing, right? So it's an amazing thing to just change the environment that you're in and try something new, jump into something unknown, right? So that was interesting on multiple levels. For me, it was also on the language barrier, right? Because we don't speak English in Poland, we speak Polish
No.
in Poland. So now I have to communicate in English, and we're like, well, how do I do that? So well, we mastered this bit. So that was the first step that you need to do if you want to integrate and live inside the communities of the the country that you chose to be in. Because that was another thing that we spotted. Some people decide that they move only for the money, and they
Yeah,
don't want to have anything to do with whatever's happening outside. They want to sit over here, make as much money, and move back. So they not maybe miss 2 years of their lives, but they certainly do not gain as much as they could have if they just a little bit opened their eyes
the
and looked outside.
culture, and like you said, the
Exactly.
language is the way in, and yeah, for me as
Yeah.
well, wherever I go, I try to learn at least a little bit, if not fully the language. It's not easy, but
It's
there's
not, and
makes a
it,
big
it never
difference.
is. And the older you get, the harder it gets, apparently, right? But some
Yes.
people are more talented towards that rather than math. Well, for me, English, okay, I've been talking in this language, speaking in this language for I don't know 20 something years. So it's kind of I can send the message across. I'm still not at the level as I'm in my native tongue, of course, which is another thing about my children now, right? They're going to be Polish. I
The
think is going to
opposite.
be the more secondary thing because we use Polish at home and of course when we go to Poland and stuff. But the main language for them is English, right? So that's going to be another advantage in the today's world because well, how many people speak Polish? How many people speak English? So
Mhm.
yes, so that's how it started. We started. My wife actually was quicker than me at that stage. She wasn't my wife. She started in 2005 investing in apartments, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
then we met along the way, and we combined forces. We moved out from Poland in 2010 together after I came back for a short period of time. I drug her with it. Like, let's go. It's like Poland, Poland. Let's go elsewhere. So we went to Ireland again because I kind of knew the territory. So we were able to build the life that we wanted, and we also started, making a nest over there. After we learned that Eva was pregnant, we decided, okay, let's buy an apartment in Ireland, and just in case, because in Ireland it wasn't very regulated. From the tenant perspective, next month you can be out. I've had
Wow.
situations happen to me where a landlord came in and he was like, okay, you're paying 750 now. Next month is going up to 1400. And you're like,
Oh,
well, that's unfair. They didn't care. Like, it's like I have 15 people in the queue. You don't like it? There's the door. Right? So
wow.
that
It's
was
like
as simple as
Texas.
it got. Yeah. Right? So imagine my surprise trying to invest in Ontario when it turns out you can't, not maybe to this extent. This is a little bit too much. There should be a procedure, right? And it turns out in
Yeah.
Ontario it ain't like that. So yes, we came to 2016. We came to Canada. Lovely country. We came again when we move. We leave the country in a way that we can always go back to. Right? It's
Yeah.
not. We want to have we like the backup plan
The
in case
door's
something goes wrong.
open. Yeah. Did you become Irish, like citizenship and everything?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, so
It takes
that's a
5 years.
huge asset.
It is. You know what it changed for me as a Polish person at that stage. Let's take south of the border, U.S. For us to get to U.S. for a quick visit, like 2 weeks holiday, it
Oh,
was 8 months of preparation, driving
yeah.
or flying to Warsaw, talking to consulate, making sure that you
Uh,
have ways to go back and reason to go. It's just an investigation into your life for visiting a country. So I was never interested in visiting US because of the troubles that it caused in just for 2 weeks vacation. I'll go to Croatia. It's a nice country too,
just as
right?
nice.
Right, exactly. Well, it has sun, it has everything, and so uh, so then in when we got, I think it was 2013 when I got the Irish citizenship. I could just buy a ticket and go.
Wow. Total
That was a
freedom.
massive change, right? It's like, and then you started looking, okay, so then same thing happened with Australia. Should I decide to go to Australia and a couple of others, right? So
Yeah.
this passport was way more. Well, I need to be careful how I say it now. It was opening more options than this one, right? But
That's
then
it.
this one had something else than this one had. But this one, for what I like, was better, the Irish one, right?
Yeah, with
And
Polish passports, I think you have access to some countries that are maybe less friendly to like North America and some of Europe, maybe Iran or something like that. Anyway,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah,
which I
exactly.
mean, it could be an advantage if you have family there or
Yeah,
business or something. It could work. So now wow, okay, you have potentially 3 passport. Oh my goodness, that's great.
it's it's nice, right? And now we're kind of trying to understand the rules. We know that none of the countries have limits that we're involved in how many passports you can have because you need to be mindful of these things too.
Yes,
Uh, and we're on a search for something new. Something if it happens, I'll let you know then.
sounds good. And now real estate in Poland, in Ireland, and in Canada. And then in Canada, you didn't just stick to Ontario. I think you've kind of expanded.
We moved to Alberta after we started a year after we came to this country, so we bought a primary residence because not a big fan of
Yeah.
paying somebody else's mortgage. Plus, immediately when we came here, we started looking into real estate market to try to understand it, and we couldn't really understand it. Like we couldn't understand that it went like 20% up. We couldn't understand that the next year it went
Crazy.
33% up. Right? In Europe, it was always like 1 point, 2 points, one down, three up,
Very stable.
right? And it just that smooth way, but over a long period of time, yeah, you're winning, right? So there was no question about that. So these swings, they were like, wow, we need to be careful over here, right? So we
Yeah.
gave Canada a year, and we're like, okay, well, if we still like the country, if we like everything what's happening here, and we see ourselves staying, we're going to stay for longer. So okay. So a year goes by, we're like, yeah, we like it. It's like we need to buy something. So we're looking in Toronto. We're like, nope. And we had decided to buy in Asia. We bought a rundown house with a plan of selling it in 3, 4, 5 years. This buying procedure has taught us so much about stuff that we didn't even know that they existed, like HELOC refinancing
Yes.
after 5 years. I'm like, what if I don't qualify in 5 years? Are they going to take the house away from me? like it was so foreign concept to our ear because in Europe it doesn't exist. You can't like it's 25, 30 years mortgage. These are the
That's
rules,
it. Yeah.
as simple
We're
as it
set
gets.
for life.
Yeah, and you can't tap into the equity of the house unless you sell it. So it's
Okay,
like it
wow.
doesn't even crosses your mind. Like what? Like how can you access the money if it's tied into this building and like how can you do
Yeah.
that? Well, over here it turns out you can, and that changed the rules of the game. So we were doing the townhouse up for the 3.5 years it took us to do it, upside down, but everything was done, and it looked amazing after we were done with it. Even we were like, no, will we sell it? Right? At some stage, we were like, no, that was the plan. We're selling it. I don't care. We just finished
Yeah.
the kitchen 3 months ago. Right? We're flogging this thing. Uh, and yeah, we did. So we were, it happened during the COVID. So the COVID, what happened to the appreciation in Ontario, especially around Toronto.
Oh
We
my,
were,
yes.
we just rode that wave. We were like, okay, we're selling this. So at first we managed to take the HELOC out just to learn how the HELOC works, and we bought properties in North Bay because when we were starting, so let's go back to us purchasing the house. The plan was clear. It took like 5 years because they told us in 5 years you need to do something called refinancing. I'm like, okay. So then we learned what that meant. I'm like, okay, so 5 years is the time when it's good to sell because there's no penalties. There's so many other
Yeah.
things. Uh,
Ideally.
right, right, and then we started learning into based on previous experiences, we were answering the questions how this system works with this situation, that situation. And we learned that selling your house in Canada, which is a new thing, is tax free if it's your
Mm-hmm.
primary residence. That's of course you need to check the details and
Yeah.
it's not an advice, but in most of the situations it's free. So and we our family grew, so we needed something else, and that was the plan. So everything was just aligning perfectly. So what we've done, we broke the mortgage at some stage. I think it was 6 or 7 months before it was maturing, and we sold it. We got primary residence, the upgraded one, and all in all, if you look at that townhouse, what we exchanged it for was 7 rental units and this primary residence that I'm standing in right
Wow.
now. So that was good going. We're like, wow, right? It's like
Instant wealth.
it was super.
Lots of work though behind the scenes.
Yes, well, that's of course. It's like we're talking like multiple years of learning. The learning portion, I cannot stress enough how much time I put into learning.
Yeah.
And again, I can't. I thank you again for being part of my journey and my learning because that you helped me a lot to understand. It was a shortcut for what I needed. So again, thanks very much. And
My
if anybody's
pleasure.
I know that you're going back to coaching now, right? As well.
Yes, so now I'm coaching kind of like what you did and you're doing. So acquiring multiple citizenships through real estate. So I'm looking at countries where people buy real estate and acquire residency and eventually citizenship, things like that. So I'm kind of flipping the model around, which I think is a great opportunity. So
It's amazing. It's like I'm following your journey and then your web journey, and we cheer over here on the sidelines because we're staying put for another couple of years.
oh
So
yeah,
I take energy from your journey now. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like, woo! I wish you all the best. So yes, and then we were learning more because open one door, you get a duplex, then you learn more things that you didn't think of before, and it's a rabbit hole, right? So we hopped into one of them. We learned a couple of things, and then we discovered that the landlord's tenant rules are a little bit different in Ontario than in different provinces or what we were used to. So it looked like we didn't have full control over the deal. Like it could get sideways quite lively if somebody decides not to pay, which was an interesting concept to my ear. So my main profession is IT, and I build data centers. So it has to be resilient, the data center. If something goes down, you can't just lose the whole data center. And
no,
this is how
that's
we
it.
try to exactly, right? So I couldn't have all the eggs in Ontario when whatever reason everybody stops paying. I
Yeah,
like
what do you
you know what I
do?
mean. You can float it for X amount of months, but then you're going to go dry quite quickly, right? And the bank doesn't care; they're going to start taking stuff away from it. So we needed a place to put the money into to expand the portfolio for something that we have more control over. And we found after analyzing every provincial landlord market, that Alberta seems to be the best for what we need, right? It's like it's the balanced market. It's a little bit of cash flow. It's a little bit of appreciation. It's great. And we tested the waters. We hopped onto that market 4 months ago.
Congrats.
With thank you very much, with a deal, and now we have tenants there, and all the rules are as we expected. It's like it works exactly the way, and we always do it ethically. We've always done it ethically. We've been doing it
Yeah.
for the last 16, 17 years. So it's good. It's like this is where we like, and this is where the future for us is. We're going to go and start putting more money in Alberta right now. So come
I love it.
September, because yeah, right. It's like I know that you have something in Alberta as well, right? So you know the
Yes.
market well.
I love the province. I think it's got huge potential. And if you look at trends right now, employment is going up in Alberta, the construction's everywhere. The province is poised for massive growth, and they have infrastructure for a much larger population. While Ontario, although it's my homeland, like my homeland or whatever you call it, I've always lived in Ontario. We're running out. Like highways are very narrow for the volume of traffic. Infrastructure is crumbling. It's hard. So Alberta, I think, has a bright future. Ontario as well. Just there's lots of work to be done. Let's just
I agree.
say that.
I live in Ajax, and I see what's happening in Ajax, right? Which is a
Yeah.
bedroom for Toronto. When we moved, no, I traveled a lot prior to COVID, so I was hopping in a taxi or Ubers, and they were like, oh, I remember 20 years ago that was a field over here. You look outside,
It
and there's
was.
like thousands of houses, right? So I've seen that happen within the last 5 years in here. I used to live
Yeah.
on the outskirts of that townhouse that I mentioned. It was on a little bit of outskirts of Ajax. Now it's like you wouldn't say it was outskirts. Like there's just another row of houses, and there's I don't know about 1,500 houses that came up.
Wow.
This is a lot of houses, right? And the infrastructure, they're widening the roads now. Yes, they
But it
do it,
took years, and it's
right?
like barely enough. I'm in Ottawa right now. Similar concept, much smaller scale. Obviously, Ottawa's 1 million people, but we still have that one little highway with 3 lanes. Soon a fourth lane. It's been in the works for 5 years now, but we're almost there. And a train, things like that. While Alberta, if you go to Calgary or Edmonton, the highways are 3 lanes, and it's a ring road, and then there's internal boulevards, and there's already a light rail. It's been there almost 40 years, while
Mm,
we're just putting it in now here. Like Toronto, I know has subway and all kinds of things, but Ontario in general still has a lot of catching up to do, and then the laws as well. I understand why Ontario did it. Landlords used to be abusive in Ontario. My grandmother told me stories when she was young. Like you said, in Ireland, like she would have a place. I think it was in the 40s. She's paying $50 a month. And then the next month, oh, okay, now it's double and triple. And it didn't make sense. So there's abuse there. But now the pendulum has gone a little too far. I think it needs to come back to something
I
balanced,
agree. I
isn't it?
agree. Because you cannot wait 16 months to regain control over
No,
your investment. Nobody would put money into something like this. If I told you, yeah, it's like we might win, but there is a
or we
big
may
chance we
not.
won. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a little bit too much risk. Now, when it comes to the appreciation, well, that's another thing that we learned
that's
over
it.
here too, right? This you can't go wrong with Ontario. You cannot. If you can hold on to the deal for like 5 years, you're
Oh,
winning.
it's only up, and you see it because employment, this is a powerhouse. Like it's the largest population in Canada by far, especially where you are, the GTA. I mean, I think it's almost 1/3 of Canada. So you can't beat that, while Alberta has a much smaller population. So there's
Yeah,
pros and cons, and that's why a balanced portfolio like you're building makes a lot of sense. Having some in Ontario, some in Alberta, some in other countries, diversity of currency. That's awesome.
right.
Like, what's the
100.
currency in Ireland? Is it euros or
It's
pound?
euro. Yeah,
Euros.
so
Okay.
euro is like $1.5. Canadian dollars is 1 euro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
amazing. So
yeah,
again, if things crash in Canada, you've got your exit strategy. If things go bad in Poland, you can exit. If things go bad in Ireland, you can just cancel it as well. So you've really built something solid for yourself and your family.
It looks promising, right? It's like it's because of if you think about what's happening around the globe now and how global we became,
Yeah.
like it's the only borders are in your head, I think, right now, right? So you
Yeah,
can go
really.
anywhere, yeah, and build life there, right?
No, so what's next, Pavel? Now you've gone to Alberta. I guess you probably want to expand since you've entered the market. You got one, you'll probably get a second one, and
Yeah, well, so that's real estate. We're going to keep on buying, and in Alberta, and we're going to do multifamily. I spent a lot of time trying to understand and do proper multifamily, like 6 and up. So I
yeah,
would like to buy a 12 plex as the next step from the business perspective. But business is business. We're going to like, what gave me the moment that you buy your first property investment, you have changed the trajectory of your life completely. Because in
yeah, you're a
25
new
years,
person. Yeah,
right, you have that thing. So then if you plant, I don't know, 7, 6, 10 across the 20 years, of these seeds, you're good. So now
it's
when we
enormous.
exactly, right? So when you analyze this whole thing, if we've done nothing now with my wife, we just kept this show going for a little bit. What we have going on, we're good. We don't have to do anything else.
Nope,
Uh,
that's it.
so that's nice. That's a good feeling to have, just to calm down. Of course, we're going to continue building the business because it's fun and I very much enjoy it. But what is troubling is what I'm trying to come up with a solution is for the newcomers to soften the landing, because even in the 6 years of period when I came to this country, it has changed dramatically, right? We were paying
Yeah.
2,400 for the whole bungalow with a basement in Rexdale in Toronto. Now the same building house would be close to $4,000, right?
Oh, ouch,
This
that's
is
hard.
this is a lot of money, right? Where do you start? So I'm
Yeah,
I'm trying to come up with something to chat with the newcomers, the immigrants, or the people that are planning to come here. So I'm building a small Facebook group, and trying to come up with different things and to speak to people that actually have reaches into the newcomers. There's 500,000 people coming to this country. 50% are going to stay in GTA, right? Another 50 are
yeah.
going to probably go to Alberta because, like, right? It's like
Alberta's calling.
it's when you watch the federal money, it's like it's going to Alberta, like 24 billion over 10 years for healthcare. 24
Yeah,
billion. That's a big number. How many zeros
it's
is that?
huge.
So so if you follow the money, and then I'm sure they're going to go there. Even now, the experience of renting in Alberta, we had tenants in before taking on the building. Like it was
Oh, that's
just
it.
no problem, right? Uh, so yes, it's like this is what's on my mind. I want to come up with something, but I speak to different people, and I haven't figured it out yet fully. Like I speak to the newcomers, and I try to if they have questions about real estate, of course, and to Canada in general. But this is something that I'm actually becoming more and more passionate about right now. So yeah, that's
It's
what we're
amazing.
focusing on.
You'll need to talk to my friend Sandro, who does the same. He's from Brazil
Mm-hmm.
and does something very similar in Ottawa, an area. He helps people from Brazil get settled in Canada. What about banking, finances? He
Oh yeah.
teaches them
I
and he
know
rents
Sandra.
to
We spoke a
them.
couple of times. Yeah, yeah. It's like we both like the fitness thing, right? So we were cheering each other up when it came to the fitness challenges that we had. So it's
Cool. Well, yeah, you
yeah,
need to chat about that because seriously, that is a huge opportunity. We're seeing all these communities, people immigrating to Canada, and they come here and people have this vision. Yes, it's a land of opportunity, but you need to know how because you don't
yeah,
just
yeah,
appear and then it's very expensive. We're one of the most expensive countries now, which wasn't always like that. So it's still there. The opportunities are still around, but you need to be equipped, speak the language, get good employment or good business acumen, start up your business the right way, learn about taxes, which is a big
oh,
chunk of
100%.
your expenses. How can you mitigate that?
Yeah,
Residency,
legally.
citizenship.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
huge
I agree.
opportunities.
Excellent. I very much appreciate that. Yeah, I'll reach out to Sandra. We'll see if we can come up with something, because it's like the normal way, the way I was taught, and again, think about it as blue collar as it gets. Uh, it won't work here.
No,
Like
I don't know.
you'll bounce off a wall, and then you're like, my lifetime expectancy in comparison to Ireland, which was good. Uh, we were normal life, right? It's like you go to work, you have day to day, and then you go with your kids, and then you go on holidays twice a year, and then you have your two cars. That was easy. That wasn't a challenge
No,
if you were working, right? So I kind of expected that here too, but it's not like that.
nope.
This
Good
is
luck
like
with that one.
this is it, right? So what you were taught, wherever you come from, I can only speak from my background. That wouldn't work. Like go to work and work harder and put more hours in. Yeah,
No,
that's not going to work, right? So yeah, there is a way, and this is what we're trying to even the ground for the newcomers, trying to make them aware what's out there. What are they, not teach
yeah,
them. I'm not licensed anything. I'm not licensed lawyer, accountant, nothing.
no,
But only from the experience, right? It's like HELOC does this and LOC does this, and this is how it affects it. If you borrow the money, that's tax deductible. It all makes sense because, as you mentioned, taxes massive in Canada, massive.
massive. Yeah, it can crush you. But if you know how to use the system the right way, legally and
Yeah,
everything, you can really make it work to your advantage. So I still believe in that. And yeah, people need to be educated in a positive way or assisted in that, and then speak to the right professionals like legal and accounting. But
correct.
absolutely, there's an enormous opportunity. Anybody listening to this podcast as well, think of your own community. So, Pavel, you're Polish. I'm sure you can help other cultures as well, but it's always fun when you've got like a similar background. Oh yeah, we came from this area or whatever, and you understand each other, where you're coming from, the mindset, and what you knew and what you didn't know. So let's say you're Chinese. Well, think about the Asian community. You could help this all these people coming here, and how to settle as well, and how to join in the community and learn from others. So
Yeah,
that's been an amazing conversation, Pavel. If my
thank you.
listeners want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
I think the best way is just Facebook. I'm starting to become quite active there under my name. On Instagram, I'm a immigrant investor, immigrant real estate investor, or migrant real estate investor, because I just recently changed it to this with trying to attract as many people that are interested in real estate and are the migrants in this country too. And there is a big chunk of like people coming in 2010, 2009, and just realizing, a couple of years ago they bought something, and now they're learning through the first purchase what that can do, and you're already in the
Yeah,
game. So
they're
yeah,
sitting on a gold mine
yeah,
for
pretty
the
much.
next step. So unlock it now and use that potential. And now is a good time. Like, it seems rough right now, but there's opportunities. Some markets are softening, or places are not selling as quickly as they used to. So you can get in the market now with proper strategies and all. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So this is what, yeah, Facebook. The best way is to go ahead and do it on Facebook.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing a
Thank
little
you.
bit about your life. I know it's short, but I want to be respectful on everyone's time. But yeah, we'll have to catch up again in maybe a year's time and see what you're up to, if you've bought all of Canada or if you've gone into other markets. And I'd love to stay in touch to hear about how you're helping newcomers, because
I will
people
stay in
need
touch.
to do that. It's a big need. So it was
I
a
think it is.
pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.